Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So yesterday, I gave out my updated top 10 prospect pools after the 2025 draft. Feel free to go check that out. And then this morning, my favorite hockey website, The Athletic, dropped their top 100 prospects. Scott Wheeler, like their head prospect guy. So I thought it'd be fun to go through it. I'm personally not going to have my updated top 50 NHL affiliated prospects until like early August, mid-August, because I got to start doing my top 50 players list, goalies list, all that stuff. We'll have that eventually, but in the meantime, I thought it'd be a fun idea to go through this list. The Athletic is by far my favorite hockey website. Feel free to go support them. They post great stuff, not just lists, like in-depth hockey journalism, support journalism. Subscribe to The Athletic. It is paid, unfortunately. But yeah, we're going to go through this. Schaefer in the middle. Does he have Schaefer number one? I haven't seen this yet. Demidov, Boyum, top 100 NHL affiliated. I don't know what, and for mine, it was personally under 25 games played at the NHL level and under the age of 25. I'm sure he has some kind of criteria that he goes through. Yeah, twice a year, just like me. I usually do it before World Juniors in August or something like that. 67 forwards, 33 defensemen, no goalies. Be considered a prospect must be under the age of 23. That's also fair, but I wanted to get Max Shabanov in there. Under 23. Yeah, some guys that graduated. Denton Mateychuk, Nazar, Kulich, Casper. Schaefer number one. Let's go. Do I agree with this? No, not really. Am I going to push narratives surrounding this? Wow. This guy doesn't like Demidov that much. Misa number two. But yeah, I assume Demidov's got to be number three. I don't know who the hell else would be. Okay. Okay. No, the top three is like set in stone. Personally, I'd have Demidov, Schaefer, Misa. I feel like most people probably would have that. Demidov, I mean, just what he did in the MHL, what he did in the KHL. We've seen him at the NHL level. You got to have him ahead of Schaefer, who played like 17 OHL games and like 5 or 6 international games. Like the sample size is not comparable. Demidov's a year older, is more proven at this stage. You can maybe say Schaefer has a higher upside, just given the physical tools, given the skating ability. But yeah, I'm taking Demidov over Misa. Damn. Or him over Misa. Misa over him, my bad. Zane Parekh. Okay, Zane Parekh respect. I've always been on the Zane Parekh trade, so it's glad to see someone else is with me. Gets unfairly criticized all the time that he's a bad defender. Not the case. Not his strongest aspect of his game, but the offensive tools are just so special. I've been battling the Parekh Boyum war for years. I'm personally a Parekh guy, even though I am American. Zeev Boyum checks in at number 5. Yeah, okay. Dickinson as well. Yeah, I feel like this is pretty standard. This got to be after Schaefer. Schaefer's definitely that top defenseman prospect. And then it's probably these three. Artem Leshinov, I assume, is like a spot or two below this. He's also in that range for me. But yeah, it makes all sense. Dickinson had 91 points in 55 games. Freaking gross. Artem Leshinov, number 7, and then it drops off the tier. So yeah, I think that's pretty solid. I think that's about. I'd have Axel Sandin Palika in the mix as well with these guys. Interesting that he doesn't, but fair. James Hagen's number 8. Not going to disagree with that. I was a little bit lower on James Hagen's than others before the draft. It wasn't just because he didn't go to the Islanders. I had him 6th in my prospect rankings. Porter Martone, number 9. I had Porter Martone over Hagens, but they're definitely in the same tier. Don't get me wrong. Where's the Anton Frundell at? Berkeley Cadden, I'm very high on. Danoy, yay. Anton Frundell. Okay, this is a pretty. Some people are going to be screaming about Demidov's placement. Besides that, this was pretty accurate thus far. Shout out Scott Wheeler. Who the hell is going to be after this, though? I'm kind of losing track. Gabe Perreault, 13. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Ahead of Ryan Leonard. I don't know about that. That's interesting. The skating is a little bit concerning, but the playmaking is off the charts. Don't get me wrong. I don't trust New York to develop him, but interesting. Beckett Seneca. I'm a little bit lower on Seneca, but I definitely see the physical tools and the steps that he took this season. That is somewhat justifiable to have him top 15. Ryan Leonard at 15. Yeah, I just don't see Perreault ahead of Leonard. Drop another tier. Simone Nemec. You still believing in Simone Nemec? Extremely high on Radim Murtka. Damn. God damn. 17 for Murtka. Axel Sandin Palika below Radim Murtka. I don't know if I agree with that. This is the one thus far. Look at me being a staunch Red Wings defender. Axel Sandin Palika needs to be top 15. Simone Nemec, yeah, I just like, even this year, they have Pesce, Hamilton, and Kovacevic. Like, is he going to be playing at the NHL level? Like, I don't know. They don't trust him. Very weird situation. Yakimchuk, get Yakimchuk out of here, boy. Come on. Nah. He gets a little bit too much hate, but he should be 30 to 40 roughly. Jake O'Brien, understandably, I am not, or understandably to have him here, I'm not quite as high, but he'll definitely be in my top 30. Victor Eklund checking in at 21, our second Islander on the board. Yeah, I'd have Eklund. He's my number 9 prospect in 2025. He'll probably be around this range. Brady Martin, personally, I'm not that high on him, but 22 is fair. McQueen, 23. Salayev, 24. Another Devil. Caden Lindstrom, yeah, it just comes down to the back, man. Like, I understand people screaming having Columbus in their top 10 because they believe in Caden Lindstrom. I believed in him a shit ton in his draft year, but he played like 8 games last season, and he's a big boy, and he's having back problems. It's concerning. It's definitely concerning. Sam Rinzel, respect. I said that he is a great Calder long shot this season. Long shot. Not picking him over Demidov, but he's 46 to 1. He had amazing results when he stepped up to the Chicago Blackhawks to end the season. Might be their number 1 defenseman. Boy needs to put on some weight though. 177 pounds at 6'4". If that's still accurate, that's a little concerning. Snuggerud, perfectly fair. Should probably go for like 45, 50 points this season if St. Louis really gives him a decent role. TJ Ginla coming off an injury, but yeah, still a top 35 kind of guy. Andrew Crystal getting respect finally by these prospect people. I don't know how he fell to the second round. Justin Carbonell, I maybe have a Carbonell. Actually, no, I had him like 13th on my board. That's fair. Cal Ritchie, another New York Islander, checking in at 31. Yeah, not the most dominant point totals this season, but you just see how his game's going to be so translatable, and they're just stacking the New York Islanders. Cole Eiserman at 32. Yeah, I'm not going to have either of these guys in like my top 15, not my top 20 either. But yeah, they're definitely high-end forward prospects. David Jiricek, I believed in him so much in his draft year. Just has not really came together in Minnesota at the NHL and AHL level. Kashawn Aitchison at 34. Wow. I don't know if I would have Aitchison this high. He's probably going to be in my top 50, but I just don't know if the offense is going to be compared to some of the other guys. Compared to a Cole Hudson, I would definitely have Cole Hudson ahead of Kashawn Aitchison and Carter Bear as well ahead of Aitchison. Look at me being unbiased. But yeah, Aitchison's floor, given that physicality, is pretty elite. Hudson should definitely be top 25. Definitely. Carter Bear, also for me, would be top 25. He was 7th on my 2025 board. Danil Yurov, I really don't, took a step back this year in the KHL after being like the best player on the best team in the KHL or team that won the KHL. Dvorsky, I would maybe move up a little bit. I feel like he could have everybody's talking about Snuggerud, but he could really kill it this season. For the St. Louis Blues, was very productive at the AHL level last season. Reinbacher, we talked about it yesterday. The injuries, I don't know what to think of. Molendyke's not going to be on my personal top 50. Reshny probably will. Jackson Smith definitely will. I'd have him a little bit higher. Simashev, 43. This is a top 100, right? Not even a top 50. Tom Willander. Interesting to see how he plays this year at the NHL level, or if he goes to Abbotsford. Oliver Bonk, I'm not too high. And Bradley Nadeau needs to be higher. He's probably going to be top 20. I know I'm saying everybody's going to be top 25 on my list at this point, but this guy had 32 goals in 58 games, 62 games, 64 games at the AHL level after being like a top 5 player in college hockey. Like, he is a beast. He's a little bit undersized. He's a goal-scoring machine. Greentree had a great season this year along Protus. Easton Cowan, the most controversial prospect of all time because he's a Toronto Maple Leaf. He's going to be solid, but yeah, I think 48 is fair. When people had him top 25 like this time last year, pump the brakes a little bit. He's on a super team. Ike Howard, yeah, that's about a fair. When looking at the track record of Hobey Baker winners, it is kind of hit or miss, and especially if you win it as junior or senior, that's a little bit less encouraging. Guys like Adam Gaudette and Jimmy Vesey. But yeah, going to Edmonton, although they're not that great at developing, he should be thrown in a pretty big role, and hopefully he can run with it. Lekar Amaki, I can't wait to see him full-time NHL this season. Hopefully they just play him top 6 because he has a special shot. Michael Hage, I'd move up some spots for sure. I'm still high on Konstantinos. He's going to be in my top 30. I loved him as a draft prospect. He was decently productive in the AHL and got better as the season went, and is one of the best two-way forwards. That's a prospect. Matt Savoy, I believe he was pretty productive in the AHL last season. A little bit undersized, though. We'll see how that pans out. Born on New Year's Day. Jet Luchenko, 54th. Yeah, I'm just not that high on Jeluchenko. Someone was coming at me in the comments being like, Jeluchenko is better than all the Islanders forward prospects. Not true. Two pairs of Red Wings. We talked about them yesterday. Should be good middle six forwards. Ilya Protas getting some respect. Love to see that. Talked about him a lot yesterday. Trevor Conley did not exactly kill it this year, I believe, in college at Providence, but still an extremely skilled guy. Lyndon Lakovic, ridiculous that he fell to 27th. Colin Potter at 30. He went 32nd, but he's at 60th here. He's decently high in him. Korchinski, solid placement there, I'd say. Logan Hensler, Ben Kindle, McGroarty. He started out pretty rough in the AHL, but his production eventually picked up to where he's maybe a little bit underrated compared to coming into last season. He was overrated. Harrison Brunicki, another Pittsburgh Penguin. Scott Morrow, I think, should be higher. This guy was like 0.8 points per game in the AHL last season. Tristan Luneau should also be higher. We talked about him a lot. Logan Mailloux, I'm not that big of a believer on. Oliver Moore, I feel like he does get overrated a little bit, but I think the displacement all the way down at 71 is fine. Coots, 73. Yeah, I didn't exactly love that pick at 15th, although I didn't have Coots like 30th on my board. Riker Lee, respect. Love to see that. Actually, it's not that respectful. He went like 25th in the draft. Solomonson, solid this year in the AHL level for the Winnipeg Jets team. Jaeger, Winnipeg, another Jets. They're stacking some of these guys back to back. Quentin Musty, 81. I think he should be higher. What he's done at the OHL the last couple of years is very impressive. Lardis, yeah, he's a little bit undersized, but that shot is special. Chernyshov might be cracking my top 50 after 55 points in 23 games in the OHL. Boiver, Matty Poitras, Matthew Wood. Any other shockers here? Nikita Artemanov, Malcolm Spence, the New York Ranger himself, Tarek Parasak, and Riley Height. Overall, I think a pretty solid list. There's going to be some that like people absolutely hate, like Demidov not being number one, like Cole Hudson being all the way down at 35. But I think overall, pretty damn solid by The Athletic, and is why, not that this is an ad, but you should support The Athletic and support hockey journalism. I'll be seeing you in the next one. We're going to have my top 50 players relatively soon. Tonight, we're doing Manager Monday with the Montreal Canadiens. So hopefully, Ivan Demidov in that game can be the number one prospect in hockey and turn into an absolute stud. Yeah, I'll be seeing the next one. Peace.